Hi everybody, welcome back to Birdie in the Books, aka Alicia. I would first like to thank everybody for watching my last video. My video did fantastic, and because of that video I got a lot of new subscribers, so I would like to thank you, all the newbies to my crazy little chaotic brain. I hope you stay. And to everyone that's been subscribed from day one, I love you too. So I'm going to do the mid-year freakout tag in this video, but I'm not freaking out because this year I am not trying to stress myself out with reading. So we'll mix in a little bit of my stats with answering the questions that go along with this yearly tag. And everybody who created this tag and people that tagged me in it will be tagged down below, and anybody I bring up will be tagged down below. Question 1 is best book you've read this year so far, and that is King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. I love S.A. Cosby's work, but King of Ashes for me is my favorite. I've read all of his work except his debut novel. I have to read that one. But I read this with Monet at Life is Monet and Bree at the Lockbooktician, and they will both be linked down below. We did that for her Patreon sprints, and I loved it. It's literally what it says on the tin, or what everybody else is saying. It's S.A. Cosby's writing mixed with The Godfather, mixed with just all the crime goodness that he writes. Question 2 is the best sequel that I read this year, and that is, I always mess up this title, The Hand of the Goddess, Book 2 in the Song of the Lioness Quartet by Tamora Pierce. This was recommended to me by my friend Helen, and I've had this on my TBR and in my house since 2020, and I finally read the whole quartet, but I'm counting this as reading the whole quartet because it answers the question. This follows all the characters from Alana in the first adventure. It's just great. I read them all in a month. They're fantastic. I'm going to recommend them to anybody I know who's middle grade age. New release that you haven't gotten to yet, but you want to. And this is my shame pile because I really wanted to get to this one. But I'm still going to get to it by the end of the year. And that is Breath of the Dragon by Fonda Lee and Shannon Lee. And it's based on the teachings of Bruce Lee, Shannon Lee's father. I am a huge Bruce Lee fan. I grew up on all his films, so I want to get to this one for sure. And I know it's a duology, and I know book 2 is coming out maybe this time next year, I think. The most anticipated release for the second half of the year. That's an easy one. I don't have a picture of it yet because the picture is not available on the website, but it's Just Add Happiness, a novel by Julie Hatcher. And it's one of her literary fictions because she's diving into literary fiction over the past 2 years. So it's book 2 of her literary fiction journey. So I can't wait to get to that, and that's coming out in December. New or new to me author is Natalie Jenner. She wrote the Jane Austen Society and the Bloomsbury Girls, and I can't remember the name of the third one in this trilogy. And she also wrote Austen at Sea, that came out earlier this year, which I've also read. And it's been so long since I've read or enjoyed literary fiction that I was very surprised that this grabbed me. And not to sound like a broken record, but I read all 4 of them within a 2-month period. And I definitely want to check out anything else that Natalie Jenner writes. And I skip fiction, newest fictional crush or favorite couple, because that's just a weird question. And plus, if I gave my answer, that would give spoilers away to books, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to skip that question. So question 9 is the newest favorite character, and this one was easy. And that is Good Stab from The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, which I buddy read with Bree earlier this year, I believe in April. I will tag the video where we discussed it down below. But we read this all in 24 hours, and it's going to be one of my favorite books of the year. And I don't want to give too much away because it's a twisty-turny book, and it's fantastic. It's Montana 1912 vampires. Need I say more? Book that made me cry. Question 10. Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I've never read the series. I missed it when the hype was happening. So I read all 3 of the original trilogy and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I have to read Hamige's book, the one that came out recently this year. But this one made me sad in multiple ways. It's been out a long time, but I don't want to spoil it for people. I just felt like the ending was rushed. Book that made me happy. And this is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leung. And it was one of the first books I read this year. It was, as my friend Amanda says, it was a hug of a book. It was just what we needed when we read it in book club. And it's just cozy fantasy. It had more plot than a lot of cozy fantasies do. So I think that's why this book in particular did so well for me. And I'm a big fan of like found families and motley crews, and that's kind of what this is. I missed a question. I didn't realize I did. Biggest surprise. I missed 2 questions. I'm sorry. Biggest surprise. And that is History Lessons by Zoe B. Walbrook. And I do not own this book physically yet. I read it again with Bree. She wanted to do sprints with her patrons. So I joined along and found out that this book specifically was a amateur sleuth. And I'm a sucker for like a cozy mystery amateur sleuth. And the biggest disappointment for me, and this might be surprising to people knowing how much I like classics, was The Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joanna Lindsay, I think her name was, or Joanne Lindsay. I read it for a book club. Didn't hate it. Don't regret that I read it. I was just expecting to love it, and I didn't. And I can totally see why people love this book, but it just wasn't for me. And the last question is the best book to film adaptation. And I've only seen 2 this year, but the best one in my opinion is I have the book here. It's Miss Austen by Jill Hornby. And there was an adaptation done by PBS and PBS Masterpiece over Christmas. And it was fantastic. And I highly recommend people watch it. You don't even have to read the book, but I highly recommend you do both. So that's my mid-year freakout tag. I'm at 55 books read for the year. I'm not doing too bad. I have 60 as my goal, so I'm not complaining. And I'm also just DNFing more. Like, I'm not reading or pushing through books because I'm going to be part of a discussion or anything like that. I'm just going with the flow, and if things don't work for me, I DNF them. So that's basically my year in books, or my 6th month of the year in books. And everybody that I talk about will be linked down below, as well as my link tree with all of my socials where you can find me on the internet, my Pango store, all that stuff. And the last prompt is to tag people. So I didn't see my friend Amanda at the Naughty Librarian do this tag, so I'm going to tag her. You don't have to do it, but I would love to see your answers. Thanks, everybody. Bye.